Welcome to another conversation with another community leader. I'm Cary Bozeman. I'm your host. I've been the mayor of Bellevue, Washington, as well as Bremerton, Washington, and I'm currently a Port of Bremerton commissioner. And my guest today is Carli Meurs. Did I pronounce that right, Carli?
Yeah, you got it.
And Carli, you are currently the Interim Executive Director of Leadership Kitsap. But as of today, when this program is being run, your former boss, Katie Walters, has just been elected Kitsap County Commissioner.
Woohoo!
So that's pretty exciting. I'm sure exciting for her and exciting for you and lots of other people. So we'll talk about all that. Before we get into that, though, where are you from? What brought you to Kitsap? What did you do before what you're doing now?
Wow. Yeah. Well, I actually grew up here. So
you
I've been
did?
here my
grew
whole
up here?
life. Yep.
What did your parents do?
My dad works in the shipyard.
Yeah?
He's very secretive about it. I don't even know what he does.
Yeah.
But then my mom has always been in dentistry. So now she's the financial coordinator at a dental office in Bremerton.
Uh-huh.
And then, we've lived in the same house almost my whole life.
Wow.
In the Manchester area. So,
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
South Kitsap High School, of course.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yep.
They used to have a great football team. I'm not sure they still do anymore. I haven't followed them for a while. What did you do before you became the Interim Executive Director of Leadership Kitsap?
Yeah, so immediately before, I was the program manager for Leadership Kitsap. So for the past maybe year and a half, I've been working with Katie and learning the ropes and just really focused on running the signature program, Leadership Kitsap's 10-month program.
Right.
And that was my main focus. And then before that, I worked with Housing Kitsap for quite some time. So that's really where the bulk of my career has been, is in affordable housing.
Oh, really?
And
Boy, that's a big, important issue, affordable housing.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you go to college or go to school after high school?
I did, yeah. So after I graduated from South, I did the Running Start program at Olympic College.
That's a great program.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And then I zoomed over to Cheney, Washington for Eastern Washington University.
Yeah.
So that was
Good
a
for
fun
you.
experience, far from home, which I had never been. And then got my bachelor's degree in visual communication design there.
In visual communication design.
Yes.
What did you plan to do with that education?
Well, that was the first step of two-step plan for me. So that's kind of the graphic design work of marketing. And then my master's degree, I have in international business. So that was step 2. So I wanted to be the between person who understood both the design aspect of marketing and also the communication part of marketing. So,
Well, you and Katie Walters, our new county commissioner, have a lot in common with your backgrounds and your education. I think very similar. She went to Gonzaga, I think.
yeah.
So, well, good for you for getting a good education.
Thank
you.
you.
That's great. And Head Start, which is where high school students can get started in community college, like 2 years they can do.
For 2 years, yeah.
So you can get your 2-year degree while you're still in high school.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of students come out with their associate's degree from that program.
Yep.
But I used it as a transitionary
Yeah.
into college life.
Were you actually on the campus of Olympic College while you were doing that program?
Yeah.
Did it bother you that you were missing out on some of the high school experiences? I've always thought about that.
Yeah. You can do it several ways. You can go full-time, part-time. I just did part-time. So I had high school classes, college classes, and then I did extracurriculars.
Because I love going to high school. I mean, I just had a great time in high school. I didn't study much, but I had a great time. Yeah. So let's talk about real quickly. Let's just talk about what might be the transition from Katie Walters to whoever the board, I guess, decides they're going to select for the new position, right?
Yeah. So the executive director position's open now.
Yeah.
And we will talk details on how we're going to roll out the application period for that, but it is open to apply. And
will you be a candidate?
Details on that. Well, I sure hope so.
Well, good.
I would like to apply.
Well, I mean, you're going to apply, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Having fun learning and
Well, Katie, I've heard really good things about the job you've been doing lately. So that's great. So let's talk about Leadership Kitsap, which I know a lot about because I was on the board for 6 years, and I love being on the board. What's the mission of Leadership Kitsap, and how does the program work?
Oh man.
If you had to explain it to someone who never heard of Leadership Kitsap.
Yeah. So I've been learning a lot lately about all that Leadership Kitsap does. So we refer to it as Leadership Kitsap quite often, but it's actually a whole foundation with several programs. So the signature program is the one that people know. It's a 10-month-long program that focuses on a positive leadership curriculum, which I attest it to a servant leadership style curriculum. We focus heavily on community service and heavily on connecting people, just networking opportunities and making sure people know that we're all in it together. So we have up to 30 class members.
It's kind of like a leadership school, though, isn't it?
Leadership school, yeah, that's perfect.
And so how do people, so that it's about a year-long program, or no, it's not quite that.
It's 10 months, yeah.
It's 10 months.
Almost.
So how do people get into the program? How do you select you call them students, don't you? Or what do you?
Yeah, well, the whole group we call it a cohort. And I call them students because that's what we are, really. We're just learning from one another.
How many come into the class, and how do they get in the class?
So our application period starts in January every year. It's about January through April. So we invite anybody and everybody to apply, but we only accept up to 30 people each year. So we hold a wait list and invite those people to apply again the next year, because oftentimes we really want all those great leaders, but we do cap it at 30 for the optimum experience for each cohort.
Right.
So anybody can apply, and then up to 30 students.
So they go online and Leadership Kitsap and apply that way? How do they apply?
Yeah, actually pretty proud of that. This year, we're going to open it up for an online application.
Oh, cool.
In years past, it's been just a paper form. You have to print it, mail it, maybe a PDF. But this year, it's going to be even more accessible. So you go online.
Well, I highly recommend it. I've spoken to the class almost every year for 20 years now.
Yeah.
And it's such a wonderful experience. And everybody, you've got a big alumni now. There's probably over 500 or 600 people who've gone through this program.
660.
I'm in Mayor of two cities, and I will tell you that there's nothing more important in a community than people who step up to lead. Nothing more important than that. That's what makes a community. And by going through this training, these people are now, I think, understand that they can actually create change in a community. They can have a vision and create change. I just love leadership. I love people who lead. I love people who take the risk to lead. That's why I think this particular activity is so important for our community. So important. So people can sign up online if you're interested. There's a fee, right? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, we are a tuition-based program, and that's just kind of how we keep the lights on.
Right.
And we're able to provide all of these services. But we keep it affordable as we can.
Yep.
Right now, it's a shared tuition cost. So each student is committed to a $250 part of the tuition. That's it for them. And we cap it at that and we leave it. And then they have a sponsor. And usually it's their employer sponsors the rest of their tuition.
Right. Like I know the shipyard supports people in the program every year.
Yes.
Right.
And we love that. We love being able to tap into the shipyard.
And I know at the port of Bremerton, we've had people in the class the last few years.
Yes.
Kathy
that's
Garcia
true.
was in the class last year. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the employer, the student or the person who wants in the class will talk to their employer and said, "Would you be willing to sponsor me in the class for Leadership Kitsap?" And
Yep.
that's how that works. So,
Yeah.
right. You're a nonprofit, and you get funds from fees from these people who are going to participate, but you got to raise more money. So how do you do that? How do you go about raising money to pay the bills and keep the place open and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's true. The tuition doesn't cover all of our costs.
Right.
So we are a nonprofit, so we do accept donations, and quite often donations will come with certain smaller events that we host. Like for our alumni association, we have several small events.
Yeah, I've been to a bunch of those, and they've been great.
Yeah.
I remember one of them, Leonard Forsman from the tribe, leader of the tribe, spoke at to the group, and boy, he was amazing.
You know, I just had a request for that again.
Oh, did you?
Hey, 2023 is our 30th anniversary, and
Really?
we want to bring back all of those highly, highly recommended leaders.
Well, that was one. Leonard did a great
good one.
job of talking about the history of the tribe and what the vision he has and they have for the future. And I was, I've heard a lot of speakers. I was really, really quite impressed.
Wow, I love that.
Try to bring him back for sure.
Okay, he's on the list.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the 30th anniversary of Leadership Kitsap, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
darn.
2023. So.
Well, a good friend of mine was on the board. No, he wasn't. He didn't go through the class. He was on the board. Anyway, that's another story. So let's talk more about how you fundraise.
Yeah, so small donations, of course, and then also we rely heavily on grants and sponsorships.
Right. And companies can sponsor, and I know the port sponsors an activity. It's for one day workshop.
Yeah, is it the Greg Apel workshop?
Yeah,
It's a
no,
all-round
we don't
conference?
do that one. Anyway, but talk about a little bit the opportunities for sponsorship.
Yeah, so I can expand on that. We have several workshop opportunities.
Yeah.
So we host these workshops throughout the year, which I'm actually still learning about all of those that we host. But several workshops open to the public, of course. Not everything we do is just alumni or just, our current class. We really are publicly focused.
Yeah.
So any community member can join on those other programs.
Yeah.
Workshops, we have a women's networking group that we just started during the pandemic pivot is what I've been calling it. So that's called LIFT, the Women's Networking Group of Kitsap County.
LIFT?
So it's local. Yeah, LIFT. And the main group is hosted on Facebook, our Facebook group. But within that group, we continue conversations each month and each week with different topics and questions posed. And then we have quarterly webinar workshops for them as well.
Is LIFT is it a women's group?
It is.
Yeah, it's a women's group, and they meet what? How often?
So on Facebook, anytime, all the time, we have scheduled prompts.
Right.
But on the webinar workshops, those are quarterly.
So it's a way where lots of interesting discussions are held, lots of local issues are talked about, and people can kind of, I love being a part of programs like that.
Yeah.
You sit around round table kind of things where you sit around and you talk about your community and you talk about what the needs are, and that's where the good ideas come from.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you got LIFT. What else in terms of the fundraising?
So then for our signature program, we have the sponsorship opportunities for each challenge day.
Challenge days, that's what you call them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the port sponsors a challenge day. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it's coming up. I think it's Economics Day in December.
Oh, okay, good.
So each challenge day, once a month, the whole cohort comes together for a full day of training, and we can highlight our sponsors throughout the day. During that to our cohort and all the speakers and all of the other resources that we bring in.
Leadership Kitsap, you recruit 30 people, or they apply.
Yeah.
So there's about 30, and then you meet once a month.
Yeah.
Once a month. So the group meets once a month, and there's usually a speaker or a lecturer. Is that what happens once a month?
Yeah, so it's a full day training once a month, and that's for everybody. There are speakers, panels, tours, like activities even.
Yeah.
So really each day is unique.
And you have a retreat, right? An overnight retreat?
Yeah, that's
you still
how
do that?
We do. We kick off the year with a 2-day overnight retreat.
I actually went to Leadership Kitsap class when I first got over here, 1995. Something like that. And I remember the overnight out at the
CBEC Conference Center.
CBEC Conference Room.
We're still there.
Yeah.
That's our tradition.
Right. And I think I was the oldest. I'd been the mayor of Bellevue then, and so I was the oldest member of that class, I'll tell you that. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. So then you have a big graduation, right?
Yeah.
How does that work?
I do want to highlight that the outside of those once a month trainings, they have small groups that they work in for community service projects.
Oh, that's right.
So it is more than just those 1-day trainings.
Right. So each of your groups do a community project.
Yeah.
And lots of times those are projects that are, continue on after that group is gone, right?
Yeah. So the biggest focus is the sustainability. We just want to help organizations get something started, make something worth going on to help the community, and then we hand it over to them in a sustainable way.
Well, you're creating a project that creates change in your community, and then it's ongoing because other groups can come and push it on up the hill, right?
Yeah.
So to speak. Now, the Leadership Kitsap the curriculum is a wonderful curriculum, and it works. We're going to run out of time before I talk about this project. 20 under 40, right? So let's talk about 20 under 40. What's that?
Yeah, so I would say it's our second biggest program, and it's a recognition awards program for, again, anybody in the community can apply, but they have to be nominated first. It culminates in this evening event to highlight these.
But it's 20 people under 40 years old that are celebrated in this program, right?
Yep.
Right. So how does it work?
So on January 26th, 2023, we're going to host the award ceremony for the 20 honorees that are chosen.
How are they chosen?
Through an independent panel of judges. So we ask 5 judges outside of Leadership Kitsap to come and review all of the applications.
How many applications do you usually get? Lots, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Last year, I think we received 55, which was a low number for us. And it was just coming out of pandemic.
Being maybe 100.
Yeah. So the nominations are what really drive the application, because somebody can only apply and be invited to apply if they're nominated by somebody else.
And can you nominate someone online? How does that work?
Yeah, another proud moment. We switched that to the online form this year.
Nice.
It's really easily accessible. It's leadershipkitsap.org, and there's a little tab for 20 under 40 awards. You just nominate them. It's very quick and simple, and then we invite them to apply.
And boy, that's still a lot of work for the panel, because all these people are outstanding people. And to have to pick 20 of them, that's a big job.
Yeah, we give them a little while to talk it over or to think about it themselves, and then they come together on December.
And the Kitsap Sun's a big part of this, right?
Yeah.
So what do they do?
Well, they're an awesome partner. They help us promote the event, of course, both the nomination period, which goes until November 18th this year, and then also the event itself, which is kind of a big deal for our community. It's a Kitsap County-wide awards program. So,
and you do it at the conference center, right?
We do.
Yeah.
Yep, the Bremerton Conference
I've
Center.
been to it. And someone sponsors things for that event. Is it a fundraiser also as well as an event, or are you just trying to pay the bills that night?
Yeah, so that event is really all about the 20 honorees. It's all about them. Although we do have to pay for the event somehow, that comes through the
I know Derek
sponsorship.
Kilmer comes to the event.
Yes, he's
Yeah,
been our
Congressman
keynote speaker.
Kilmer. Yeah. I've come to the event many times.
And we love
It's
that.
really, it's really. I'm always so impressed with the people that get awarded, that get selected. I mean, they all get up and say a few words. I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes or something like that. And boy, they are so impressive. And we forget there's a lot of young, impressive. We see the same names in the paper all the time and all that kind of stuff. But if you go to Leadership Kitsap graduation night or Leadership 20 under 40 night, it is so impressive how many young, really articulate, smart people we have in this community.
Yeah.
And they're doing lots of good work. So, this is just a great program. So, how can people get signed up for this?
So
They just go on.
Also
so, and
online.
that's all in this ad?
Yep, there's a little QR code on the ads that are going around, either at the Kitsap Sun or on our websites, social medias. But it's all online, or just email us, info@leadershipkitsap.org, and we'll get everybody set up.
And is there a deadline for applying?
Well, the nominations deadline is November 18th.
Oh, no, that's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up quick. And then the application deadline for people who have been nominated is December 3rd. So they have a little bit extra time in case they were nominated last minute.
Okay. We haven't talked about, we've talked about the program itself and how to apply, and we've talked about 20 under 40 and some of your other programs. Let's talk about the structure of this organization. You're a nonprofit.
We are.
And you have a board.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about the board. How big is it? How do people get on the board if they're interested? And all that kind of thing.
Yeah, right now it's about 20 people. It's a working board, so...
It is a working board. I was so impressed. I was on the board 6 years, and everybody chips in. Everybody works.
Yeah, and we need it because our staff size, right now, it's me.
It's you, yeah.
And then when we're at full capacity, we're at 1.5 staff.
Yeah, I know.
So we really need those 20 working
This
board
program
members.
is so important, and I used to speak at the King County Leadership Kitsap meeting every year. I just want to see this program grow, and for it to grow, I have an idea for it.
Okay.
So a lot of us old board members that were on the board, you can be on the board for 6 years, 2 3-year terms. And I think it's great to rotate board members on and off.
Yeah.
But it might be fun to think about establishing kind of an emeritus board. The Humane Society has one. I'm on that one too. But it's when board members go off that they retain a position on the board called emeritus board member. And you maybe meet once a year and have dinner together and stay involved that way, and by contributing, continue to contribute, that sort of thing. So anyway, it's
that idea.
Yeah. The last thing, is there anything I have not asked you about Leadership Kitsap that you'd like to add?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mentioned before, I'm learning a lot in the last couple of months.
Right.
So
You're brand new.
I am.
Okay.
And I'm excited to be here. But
okay, let me ask you another question real quick. This is about leadership. How would you describe your own leadership style?
Ooh. A few years ago, I would not have an answer for you, but just learning through the positive leadership curriculum alongside the class, and I'm also an LK alum, 17. I would say I'm definitely a servant leader. I'm here to help, and I capitalize on that. I want to help you, them, community, anybody I can help.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
Well, yeah, that's the way you attract people to help you.
Yeah.
right? And you've got a leadership, you've got a style that I think would attract people to you. You're outgoing and you're friendly and you're smart.
Thank
and
you.
a lot of things. So
Thank
I
you.
think board members are going to want to help you. So we'll see what happens and
Yeah.
who gets the job, but wish you good luck.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank you for being my guest today.
Yes, thank you so much
was-
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You were great. So I just want to thank everybody. We'll have another conversation with another community leader. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Leadership Kitsap is our community's civic leadership program. Leadership Kitsap fosters and empowers educated, prepared, and engaged community leaders throughout Kitsap County. For over 30 years, we have cultivated leaders that work collaboratively to create positive change, dedicated to making our community a better place to work and live. We expose our class to Kitsap's leaders across public, private, and nonprofit sectors. We're happy to bring many of these leaders to you. Strong leaders build strong communities.